it's like I have to like in the beginning I had to like pinch myself, like, is this real? Is this happening? And I love Pretty Maids, Jimmy Jameson and Survivor. I love that as well. So it's, of course, it was like it's a dream come true. But once you start working, it turns into a professional project, and you just do your best, and it's like it's not like I'm still amazed that I'm having a band with Jeff Scott Soto, and unfortunately we couldn't do more records with Jimmy because he passed away. But we talked about making a second record, so it was in the works with the second record as well. But unfortunately, it never happened.
Hello, everybody. Hi, it's me, Mari. I'm here again at the Alma Hard canal with Leandro. Today, we're going to talk with the amazing singer, songwriter, producer, and so forth, Erik Mårtensson. Hi, Erik.
Hello.
How's it going?
Everything is great here. The sun is shining, and it's Friday, and I'm soon going to have a first beer of the evening.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Erik, let's start talking about Eclipse, and Erik is coming to Brazil, and not only once, but twice in 2 weeks.
Twice. Never been there, and then I'm going to be there twice.
Starting with a bang.
Yeah.
So, we want to ask you, what are your expectations, and what can you say about Summer Breeze and the Hot and Heavy Party?
Well, I'm so looking forward to it. We've been talking about going to South America, Brazil, and for ever since we started this band. It never happened, but now it's happening. It's amazing, and I honestly I can't wait. I've heard so much about it, but it's only talk. You got to experience it yourself too.
Yeah, you're gonna like it.
Yeah. And
you have any clue about the set list, especially for your solo show at the Hot and Heavy Party? You have so many projects.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have this Brazilian band is gonna back me up. So they need to know the songs. Usually with Eclipse, we just decide like 30 minutes before we go on stage. We do the set list, right? But with it's harder with a Brazilian backup band who don't know every song.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you feel somewhat strange because you're not doing this show with your fellow Eclipse members. It's a Brazilian band. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be something new, and I've been playing a lot of. Before we started touring with Eclipse, we started out. We played in cover bands, and I've played with different people all the time, and I run my studio here as well. So I'm really used to playing with other people, so I hope it's going to be fantastic. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, they are amazing musicians.
Yep, cool.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Eclipse now. So you guys just released Apocalypse Blues in February, and it was just 5 months after the release of the last album, Megalomania. So why so soon a new single?
Well, we I think that's a great thing about streaming. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to. You don't need to think about physical albums. Well, actually, we did a physical 7-inch vinyl for this release, which you can buy with an extra track. But it's that was more a fun thing. But it's more like a why not? We have the songs, and so why not? It was great.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the next album.
Never know.
Could be the same thing that you did in Armageddon Eyes with Runaways.
Yeah, but that was more that we were in this like Eurovision song contest, which is like a big television show in Europe. Well, we were only participating in the Swedish one, but so it was like we added like a separate bonus, but it's not going to be added to the Megalomanium CD. This one, it's going to be let's see what's happening. We don't know yet. We make it up as we go on.
Okay, so you're not with the immediate plans for the next album yet?
No.
Okay.
You have done a magnificent albums with a lot of artists. as musician, songwriter. Which ones were the most successful in your entire career, and which ones you have a proud of working in?
Well, I'm proud of most records because every record we always do the best. I always do the best possible album I can do. So if it's a W.E.T album, Nordic Union album, if it's like Jimmy Jameson album, I really did my best to make the best possible album at the time, and with the time I had to create it and write it. So I can't say that I'm happy with every record, to be honest. It's like, yeah, of course I can look back at them now and say we should have done this different, and we should have, I should have mixed it in another way or whatever. But it's like, but at the time I did my best, so it's really hard to have regrets about it.
Yes, you already work with a lot of the legends, like Ronnie Addings, like Jimmy Jameson, and a lot of more. How is it for you to work with them, and what's the feeling? I think that you grew up listening to these guys, and you already work with them.
It's like I have to, like, in the beginning I had to like pinch myself, like, is this real? Is this happening? And I love Pretty Maids, Jimmy Jameson and Survivor. I love that as well. So it's, of course, it was like it's a dream come true. But once you start working, it turns into a professional project, and you just do your best, and it's like it's not like I'm still amazed that I'm having a band with Jeff Scott Soto, and unfortunately we couldn't do more records with Jimmy because he passed away. But we talked about making a second record, so it was in the works with the second record as well. But unfortunately, it never happened.
So Erik, talking about Eclipse again, Eclipse was one of the first bands to really mix hard rock with a little more modern sound, and I think especially for Megalomania, when you guys took a little turn to like more pop punk, and it was how was that? It was the band's influence. It was you. How does that happen, especially now for Megalomania?
Well, we always make changes for every record. We make changes in the sound. If you listen to the earlier records, it's very different from the last one, of course. And everyone in between is a bit different, everyone. But I don't want to make the same record over and over again. I think that's, some people like Bleed and Scream is the best record ever for them. And that's fine. And we already did, but we already recorded Bleed and Scream. We want to do something else and bring something new to the table. We're not going to like serve this. We're not McDonald's at music. We're not going to do different things all the time, right? And I always try to explore what is the sound of Eclipse. How can we stretch it? How far can we stretch it? And this time we did a more punkier. I don't know, it's pop, but it's a bit more punk attitude. We started already on the Wired to have a little more punkish attitude, which I love. And I listen to a lot of punk rock, and I love that. I love skate punk, and it's just music, right? Some people take it too seriously. For us, it's just music, and we do whatever we want, right?
Yeah, and I think even so, it still have all the elements of Eclipse that Eclipse always had. So songs like Anthem is so Eclipse side on that.
Yeah. But it's it doesn't mean that the next record is going to sound the same. It's like this is how this record sounded, and every record is like a diary of where you are in your life at the moment. During the time we wrote this record, this is where we were personally and what we like to do. And next time, who knows what it will? Maybe it's a metal record. I don't know.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Erik, for me, the album Armageddonized is one of the best albums I've ever heard. Yeah, heavy, modern, melodic, radiophonic. I prefer the deluxe edition because the Runaways could be in the first release, which makes the album more perfect, I think. Yeah. Okay, how did you get this level of the creative and quality on this record? Was the process of the recording, composer, songwriting to make a great album like this?
Well, I think it's it didn't happen over one night, or it's like we did a record called Are You Ready to Rock, and that's the first album which I really liked. It's the first album that like, okay, this sounds pretty good now, but every song had you could hear it, like sound like a White Snake, it did sound like a Rainbow on some songs, and it was Europe on some songs, and so for the next album, Bleed and Scream, we really wanted to do with the songs that sounded like something else. We like put them aside and just focused on songs that sounded like Eclipse, right? And on Bleed and Scream, we really nailed like the Eclipse sound, and I think we took it one step further with Armageddon. So I think maybe Armageddon was probably the first record where we like no strings attached to anything else. We just did our own thing. Like Bleed and Scream was the first try, and Armageddon was probably when we hit bullseye on how to. And I think Monumentum, the record that followed Armageddon, is really kind of the same as Armageddon. We just did one more record, and then we started to like experiment a bit more, especially when we did like Viva La Victoria, which was also very different, and it sounded like nothing else, sounded like Eclipse, and it really took off.
My perception that since Are You Ready to Rock, all of them are getting better and have a difference. But the first two albums is a melodic rock, is in the beginning yet. Were you beginning that kind of that sound? You seeking the sound, or was the record company, or you think that making that melodic rock in the two first albums was best to sell? Why the first two albums is different from the Are You Ready to Rock?
Well, it was made during the early 2000s, and melodic rock was so out of fashion, right? But we liked it, but we tried to please everyone else, I think. So there was like those records ended up sounding, we didn't like them at all. And no one else did, because we were trying to please everyone else and no one else at the same time. So on Are You Ready to Rock, we just decided like, let's just do the music we love. And we just, Magnus and myself, we just went to a house. We bought a shitload of beer and just drank beer and created hard rock songs. And everyone loved it. The record was like, wow. So if we do the music we love, there's probably, so since that day, we just follow our hearts in writing songs that we like. That if we like the songs, probably someone else will, right?
Yeah, lots of people did.
Yeah.
So Erik, about W.E.T, we consider one of the greatest bands of the second half of the 2000s, and. Wow. Would you ever consider like being your main project, doing tours? Do you think it could have taken on bigger proportions as a band?
W.E.T. Well, the problem is everyone is so busy with their own projects, right? And also the biggest problem is that Jeff is living in LA and we are living in Sweden, which is like other side of the world. So everything is pretty problematic logistically, and Jeff is always busy touring with, everything.
Lots of bands.
Yeah, but I really like the W.E.T project, and I'm really proud that we kept it going for all these years. There's actually a new W.E.T record coming out.
Nice.
So we are still working on it. So it's when we did the first one, none of us thought we were going to make like 5 records and a double live album. We never knew that would happen, but I think it's pretty cool that we're still doing it, even if it's a project. It feels like a band when we start working together, right? But it's we have our own sound, right? And I think that's also I really like W.E.T. It's a cool, and it's very easy going, because with Eclipse we are very hard, like we need to sound like Eclipse, or if it's we have like all these rules or no rules, but with W.E.T it's more like if it's a good song,
less pressure.
Yeah.
And talking about Jeff Scott Soto, I don't know if you know, but he's almost a citizen of Brazil.
Yeah, I know it.
We would like to know how is it like to work with him, and maybe just drop a hint if you guys would maybe play together a Summer Breeze.
Yeah, we've been doing guest appearances with Jeff a lot of times, and if we're on the same festival at the same time. I'm not sure if we're gonna be at the festival when he's playing, right? So I'm not sure if we are even gonna make it to the festival to his set.
Yeah, so you're playing different days.
There's a big chance it's not gonna happen this time. We've been doing our Monster Rock cruise. We've been doing it like 3 times, so we've been doing it in different places around the world. But let's
maybe
see.
One day
if it's possible. That would be great, of course, if it's possible. Yeah. But working with Jeff is great. It's very easygoing, and he's a real nice guy, and it's like good hanging out.
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this like 10 years later. Yeah.
Sure.
Even more.
Talking about now the Nordic Union. The Nordic Union slightly changed their sound and themes with the album Animalistic, which goes to the heavy side. Is flirting with the I don't know if I'm right to saying that, but flirting with the almost epic metal, power metal, but didn't sound like speed but it seems in the same in some tracks, not the entire album, compared with the 2 first albums. The album also highly claimed with the people. People really like the Animalistic. Do you believe you achieved the essence of the project of the album in this album, in Animalistic?
Well, I don't know. It's I really, for me personally, it's my favorite record of the 3 we did. But I think it turned out to be heavy metal. It's a very funny story, because I'm living in a house, right? And we're renovating the house, and I like doing it myself. But we have like a cellar, and I had to clean the whole thing out, like, because we had like mold in the cellar. So we had to, take away everything, and it was hard work. And I was really like, I was lost. I was like, I couldn't listen to any pop music. I had to listen to metal music all the time, because I was like, because I had to
destroy things,
just tearing everything down, right? So. And during that period, I wrote the album. So it's because I was listening to so much metal. Wow. I was probably all excited about tearing my whole house down. So that's
I love it.
Reason why it's so heavy.
I think that's because the Ronnie Adding's voice combined is combined with the style, almost the sound heavier.
Yeah, it fits him perfectly. He's great. He's a fantastic guy to work with. I really like Ronnie. And one thing that's I really learned from him is that he's been doing this for so many more years than I have, and he was still so excited about the music. He needed everything to be like really good. He did his vocals perfectly, and he was like wanted to make small changes. So most people that when they're older, like it's good enough. It's good enough. But he don't have that at all. He's like a hard worker, and I can really relate to that, because I'm the same myself, and I hope when I'm his age, I hope I'm just like him.
Talking about now the Ammunition, featuring the vocalist Augustin Nielsen. I think that's kind of we say August Nielsen.
Augustin.
Augustin. From W.E.T. is one of the coolest projects you involved. Perhaps the most glam ad of them, I think. That's. Do you think the comeback is possible? I am asking a lot. The people about the Alma Hard asking about the 3rd album. It's possible.
Well, the funny thing is that we haven't started working on any Ammunition, but Åge was here last week. We wrote songs for W.E.T. and some solo records for him. So we actually hooked up for the first time in a long time. We hooked up writing songs together. So who knows? It was really fun. It was really cool hanging out together, and we work really good together. When I write together with him, it doesn't sound like anything else I do, and it doesn't sound like anything he do as well. It's like something in the middle that's like something that's nothing like any one of us, just happens. which is
Yeah.
really it's fun.
Yeah.
We make like fun songs, and it's a lot of joy making them, but it's not too serious. It's I really like it. We wrote 2 really good songs in 2 days. Cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Nice.
So
So,
if
talking
a
about,
third record,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, but yeah, a third record, I don't know. No plans yet.
Yes. Will be great.
And talking about other collaborations, I have to say, I have to talk about this because I have a Heat fan club. So
Yeah, cool.
I have to ask about Heat.
Yeah,
So
sure. Go ahead.
Eclipse and Heat just did a tour together last year.
Yep.
And
That's when I got the shirt.
yeah, me too. So, and other thing, you have written with Erik Roll many years ago. You guys had a song together for a bonus track for Destination, Heat's album. And have you ever thought about collaborating again with Heat or even with Erik, because now he's probably going on a solo career again? So if you guys talk about something like that.
Yeah, we actually been talking about writing songs together in the future, but I actually did a couple of songs together with him for his solo record before he.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah,
Idol. Yeah, the Idol thing. So yeah, we've known these guys for ages. So it's when we went on tour, it was like everyone. We were going on tour with every other band. Was like then we started talking like the obvious choice that we Eclipse and Heat should tour together. That's like the most obvious tour ever, and it never happened until last year, which was fantastic. It was great. There was a lot of sold out shows, and we had a really good time together. Really nice guys.
yeah. And it was interesting because you guys had a problem in Spain for the Lion Rock Fest, and the Heat guys were the one that lent you guys all the instruments, right? I was there. And
well, now we landed. I think bass guitar. The promoter who organized the festival, he had 2 guitars, and we had to borrow like antennas and like wireless stuff. Yeah, well, it was like we landed stuff all over, but he helped us out big time because they were on a proper tour, and we were just flying in for that festival gig. So they
I was
turned out
lucky
it was a great evening.
to see that.
Erik, what's the next works, the next bands that you're working in? You can say to us? I say a lot of them it's secret, but what you can say to us that you are working now?
I'm working on so many different projects. I actually recorded a rockabilly band in the beginning of this week. They were in the studio. So at the moment, I'm probably gonna mix a rockabilly band from Sweden.
Wow.
I'm all over the place, to be honest. So it's there's a new wet record coming out, which we're working on, and what else? A lot of live gigs coming up this year. May is gonna be. I'm gonna be more on the road than I'm gonna be at home. So it's gonna be a lot of live gigs. Festival season's coming up. There's gonna be hopefully a European tour at the end of the year again, and we're gonna go to America as well at the end of the year. So it's gonna be a lot of things to do and studio work. So
Working hard.
yeah. I mixed a German band. I delivered it yesterday. A mix for a German band. So I'm mixing records. That's like my day job. I'm mixing my studio. Yeah, we're in the room where I'm right now.
And finally, it's good to finish with a question that I like to ask to our guests. I suppose you have your favorite albums. I already seen in your Facebook, Instagram, that you post some vinyls that you listen to. Iron Maiden, Yngwie Malmsteen, etc. But what's the 3 best albums for you of all time, independent of the style of music? Could be pop, could be country, could be heavy metal.
Yeah, well, that's a hard question. Well, AC/DC is one of my favorite bands. It's my favorite band. That's what's made me pick up the guitar in the first place and starting doing music, right? And so I think probably the best rock and roll record ever is Power Rage. It's with AC/DC. That's my favorite. When I was younger, I was really into like thrash metal, and I really loved Slayer. I've seen Slayer a lot of times. I've been front row headbanging Slayer. So I'd probably say I really like South of Heaven. Slayer. It's really, I really like that record.
Great.
And what else? Oh, this is so hard. I'd probably say like Made in Japan with Deep Purple. It's an album I really love. It's every time I listen to it, it's like I'm amazed how good it is. Right, the musicianship, all the energy and stuff. So, well, ask me tomorrow. I have 3 different records.
That's nice, Erik. This has been so much fun. So nice talking to you. We thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say anything to the Brazilian fans?
Well, hello. I'm coming to your country for the first time. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. Finally, it's happening. We're going to eat and drink and have a good time.
Yes. Yeah. So that's it for today. And thank you so much. We'll see you at Summer Breeze and at the Hot and Happy Party.
Oh, cool. That's going to be great. Really nice talking to you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for your time, Erik. See ya.
Thank you very much. Bye.
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 Bye.